Majority of people hate this PV trailer that Studio GoHands released, and a lot of the criticism boils down to the usage of the camera angles, to the CGI, and the typical GoHands wonkiness. But before I really dive headfirst into that, hear me out for a second, okay? I don't think that this PV trailer that is currently being clowned on is as bad as everybody is making it out to be. Now, to be fair, yes, there is some genuine criticism that I can offer to this trailer. Like, the whole beginning sequence of this is what majority of people are complaining about, and looking at the frame rate of this sequence, it does look pretty freaking bad. This is not me uploading it and the frame rate looks bad here. No, this is genuinely on the actual PV. The frame rate does not look good here, and this could be chalked up to probably Twitter compression, you know, releasing this trailer on Twitter and then throwing on top of YouTube compression on that with what you're seeing in this video. That makes this trailer look a lot worse than it actually is. But the point is that yes, there is clearly some jankiness with the frame rate here, and I do think that the usage of the camera angles definitely can be a little bit disorientating when you see a sequence like this briefly, but it is very unique. And that is something I really want to highlight and talk about today in good faith, because yes, I do think that there could be definitely some improvements to this PV trailer and also to this anime in general, and I hope that Studio GoHands that works on this anime, the staff that works on this anime, looks at the overall criticism and does improve upon the product. But at the same time, I don't want them to stop trying to be unique. I don't want them to stop being different, and let's get headfirst into that. So we need to go back a little bit to an anime that came out over a year ago. And that anime was The Girl I Like, Forgot Her Glasses. This was a PV trailer that made a lot of waves when it released, and I think you can kind of see why. The overall camera panning and just the angles here is very unique. You do not see something like this movement in a normal anime. There is definitely just some uniqueness here. And even if you hate this sequence, you love this sequence, you're not going to tell me this isn't something that does catch your eye. Like, when you're watching this little brief opening sequence to this PV trailer, it's like, what in the world? It looks so different. And so this is a very signature type of uniqueness that Studio GoHands does for their shows. And so you fast forward to this trailer that came out late last night, you can see that the very same camera angles and stuff they've used for previous works, they're using it once again for this upcoming show that is going to be released. The show is called The Exiled Heavy Knight Knows How to Game the System. I'll get more into that in a second, but the point is that you can see the DNA of Studio GoHands and their style of art and animation. And I think that to be able to recognize something like that, to recognize a studio's genuine uniqueness, is an impressive feat. And I want to mention something that many people at this current time might have forgotten about. Now, it might be a little bit more remembered in this day and age right now because there is an ongoing Monogatari series, but basically, for a long while, Studio Shaft, that worked on a bunch of different shows, not just Monogatari, they constantly had head tilts. Head tilts was a staple, a part of anything that Shaft really worked on. Any show they worked on really had to have a head tilt. It became quite a meme in the anime community, but it was a very long time ago, and the thing is that I feel like a lot of people that probably are very newcomers to anime probably are unaware of this trend that Studio Shaft did for a while. And so I do think that, seeing something like the head tilts definitely showed you this must be a Shaft anime. This has to be something made by the same staff that works at Studio Shaft because of just the way the head tilts were done. So you fast forward to the day's age and you see people mentioning Studio GoHands, maybe not in a positive light, but they are mentioning them because of their unique design. And I think that is something I really want to embrace for a second and talk about. So let's be honest, a lot of anime and manga that comes out in this day and age, or just anime, I'm talking strictly anime, a lot of the stuff, especially when it has to do with fantasy, is usually copy and paste. Now, this is a good and a bad thing, it really just depends, but most of the time when it comes to fantasy, a Sekai reincarnated series, whatever, getting turned into an anime, it looks extremely copy and paste to all other shows of its likeness. It looks very similar. There might be some slight discrepancies, some things that are slightly different, but overall, it looks like, The art and animation is pretty much identical, which is fine. It is, you know, when you are making a medium of, like, you know, anime and stuff, like, there's going to be a lot of similarities, especially when it's that typical art style. Like, you go back about 15, 20 years ago, the art style of anime was very different from what it is today, but it was also, any anime that came out around that time looked very similar, and so with times when they change and art changes and what's acceptable changes, you know, the overall direction of everything that the general populace consumes in terms of anime or any form of art will change. And anime has obviously changed in the last 10 years or so. But I do think that there is a lot of shows that just look very similar, especially fantasy shows. And being able to have a show that really stands out in terms of the art direction, I think is incredibly important, especially ever since 2020 with the boom of anime, and there is a lot more fans getting into anime. Things need to do anything they can to really stand out as a product, because you gotta remember, when these studios, the staff is working on these shows, they are making a product to sell. They are making a product to be able to give to the audience, to be able to not just watch, but purchase BD, DVDs, merchandise, figures, the original source like light novel, manga, etc. You get the point. They are trying to sell a product. And how do you sell a product if the product looks very same into all the other stuff that has come out for years at that point? So Studio GoHands releasing something that genuinely looks very different, even if it is not for the best. For instance, once again, a lot of criticism can be made from this trailer with just the jankiness of it. It is something that is getting a lot of people to talk about it. You're not going to tell me, if you actively discuss anime and you watch anime seasonally, you don't recognize this style by GoHands to some degree. Or even if you don't recognize the studio or the staff, you're not going to tell me this sequence of art and animation isn't something that is going to catch your eye for good or bad and get you to, you know, talk about it a lot, either on forums, on YouTube, on Twitter. You get the point. And I think that is what makes GoHands so unique, and why I think that people quick to dismiss or even crap on this PV trailer are not understanding that I want more stuff like this. I want to see studios being unique. I want to see them being different from all the other copy and paste shows we get. Now, once again, you can be unique and actually be good or be bad, okay? You can be unique and it's still absolutely dog crap. Yes, I understand that criticism, because people were even telling me that, like, just because I like this doesn't necessarily mean that it's a good thing. I understand that. There is definitely a good way to do uniqueness. But I do think that completely chastising it and basically saying they should not even do this and they should go back to traditional stuff, I don't think is necessarily a good thing. I want to see them not give up on this, but improve upon the style and just take feedback. And so I do hope that, I know they probably won't watch my video, but I hope any staff members that work on this show and the people, the head honchos that work at that studio, they take criticism probably from the Japanese audience, and they probably improve upon it. I would love to see that, because you do a little bit more, you know, improvements to this. This could be a really banger-like type of art animation style, because I do love the camera pans. I really like this. This looks really good if it was just touched up just a little bit. But what do you think? Do you think that people are being a little bit too harsh to, you know, Studio GoHands and this upcoming show? Or do you think that, you know, it's just absolutely dog crap, they should go back to traditional anime and art and animation stuff? Let me know in the comments below. I'm genuinely curious to see what everybody thinks. But I'll leave it at that. Thank you so much. Be safe, stay healthy. Love you guys. Chibi out.